So, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining. Today we're going to talk about stakeholder analysis and stakeholder mapping together with Shripad. We're going to walk you through the why, what and how and show you a fantastic tool. There will be a group exercise that we're probably going to build two groups. I think we have here 9 people joining, so we will build a group of 4 and 5 people together, and we're going to walk you through. There's a case study that you're going to work on, something like 25-30 minutes, and one or both are going to present then. But don't worry, it's not going to be complicated, it's going to be fun. So, stakeholder analysis and stakeholder management, why is this so important, Shripad?
Yeah, have you been in the project which was having an issue or was a critical situation?
A lot of times.
we all have been into this situation. What it does is, this is one of the most critical tools which helps us identifying and analyzing the different parties in the project, and we map them accordingly and identify as per, once we identify the interest, we map them, we move them around to make sure that the project is a success.
Right, so successful stakeholder management begins with 3 steps that we're going to explain to you, and you're going to do them then in the group exercise with an analysis. Who are my stakeholders in the project? Thanks for joining, come in, we just started. A mapping, that is where do we see those stakeholders, how do we see their behavior and how are they impacting or are impacted by the project, and we have an action plan. When we identify difficult or problematic people in our project, what are we going to do about it? What's our action in order to get them into the group and make the project a success? So, what are really stakeholders?
What do you think? Maybe Tony, do you have any sense what kind of stakeholder have been into?
In general?
Yeah, in general.
Because now water is my friend, is my best friend.
Okay.
Otherwise,
yeah, but the
CEO, CFO.
Yeah, exactly. So what we do is there are different stakeholder groupings. One is an internal stakeholder and other is an external stakeholder. So internal stakeholders are someone who has internal project team members like executive sponsors who are sponsoring the project, or there is a sales team who has a specific interest in the project. You have HR department who is playing some role. These are some examples. And then you have an external parties like customer. They have a completely different point of view when they look at the project. They go more from the business perspective. And then you have external suppliers or third-party suppliers that you interact with, and they have a different agenda, different interest in the project. And that is what we do, how they are affected by the project and how is the ability to impact for them.
Right, so once we have our stakeholders, and usually that's not so difficult, we know the team members, we know who's going to be in those meetings, but you have sometimes people who will join every time and people who are not there so often, don't play such a big role. So in order to kind of prioritize or identify your most important stakeholders that you want to map, analyze, and maybe change their behavior, is using mapping tool. And this is going back to school. In these 6 quadrants, you're going to place your stakeholders. So on the x-axis, we have the levels of, you have project team members or stakeholders that are opposing the change. These are difficult people. They can be questioning a lot of things, wondering if you're doing the right thing. They are even destructive. They don't like what you're doing. They're blocking you. You don't get forward. You have followers, people, well, I'm supposed to test this. I do as I've been told. I'm doing it, but I'm not so excited about it. And then on the other side, the really excited people, they want to make this a success. They think this is the coolest technology we've ever seen. On the y-axis then, going up, you have the impact of change. That means how much are they going to be changed when this project is finished, when the system is implemented, when this new software works. How are they going to be impacted by? So very little, that means low, medium, well, somewhat, and high. their whole life will change, the whole working environment will change. So we're placing then the stakeholders there, and that's very subjective. There is no objective way. It's your viewpoint. That's very important to remember. You place the stakeholder there and then add a third dimension, which is the power and influence. Is this, like Tony said, the CEO or the CFO? Well, it appears they have high power and influence. For example, we placed a stakeholder right here in the upper left corner. So high impact of change, and the reaction to change is rather opposing. And this stakeholder has a high power and influence. So here we can see immediately, and everybody in this group exercise will see then, and say, this is the person I have to deal with. I want this stakeholder to move to a more enthusiastic behavior or some kind of enthusiastic way of following the project and supporting the project. So it's all then about identifying your most difficult stakeholder and move them around. Some others might not be so problematic. You might have a lot of enthusiasts, but this can also be interesting because how can you use them to influence the stakeholders that are opposing it? So once that's done, the next step is rather simple, but it needs a lot of creativity, and we're looking forward to your results. And this is then the action plan. Shripad, what is that?
And then once you have mapped them, as Jan explained in the matrix, then you carve out an action plan. And how you do that is basically there are different means, as you can see. Could be that you schedule a meeting, or if it could be face-to-face discussion, showing them how cool the project is, what is the functionality of this project, how this project is going to benefit you, and so on. So you have an action plan, move them around the matrix to make sure that your project is a success.
Yeah, to give you one example, I was on a project where we did the stakeholder mapping, and we identified actually a stakeholder that was right up there. He was very influential. He was influencing his team, was a head of department. He was very against to what we were doing, very skeptical. And he was, but rather important. So what we did is we identified him here, we have to do something. And we had an action plan where we developed the idea to, why don't we show him the functionality? Because he was so skeptical, so what is it really? We asked him, what's your problem with this? What's your concern? How can we help? And he said what he said, I don't remember exactly, but we had a number of one-on-one meetings with him, we showed him the functionality, and suddenly, kind of slowly but surely, he developed into more, wow, this is not so bad, this is really good, I like it. And then he started to influence other heads of department, and said, guys, this is not so bad what these guys are building here for us. This was an SAP implementation, a project that went 1 year and 3 months. So it was really a long time perspective, and getting his support was extremely important. Right, so that's what we're going to do now. We're going to form groups, and I think we have here, Ann, you're in one of the groups? No? Okay, so we have 5, and we have 5, that's perfect. We have group exercises for you. So I'm going to hand these out. There's a bit of a case study on the page 1. Is just a bit repeated what, thank you, what I said. And the stakeholder analysis begins on page 1 on the bottom. I'm going to read that. And you can get together in a circle or kind of, here you go. You want one too? You have all one? Great. You have 2. Okay, I'm going to give you, before you break up, I'm going to give you Post-its. You're going to write this, you identify the stakeholders, write them on these Post-its, and we have flip chart paper, going to map them, and then work out an action plan, okay? There's enough time, we help you. Post-its. Post-its. Yeah. Okay. Okay. here we go. I put the, whoops, excuse me. Okay. I put the flip chart paper here, the map. And the action plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhat. Is it here? Yep. Everything clear here? Group 1?
You have to read this.
Yeah. Yes, please. Or we can ask. You can ask questions in case something is not clear. We have an action plan. Map and the action plan. Pens. Pens. Okay, do they have all the? Yeah. Okay, no, yeah. Good. We're now soon 15, so which is fine.
15 minutes?
Yeah. No, it's 15 minutes in. So now they're reading and. 20. You work with that group.
Et prosjekt som ikke går ut planen, og så dette Stakeholder.
Ja. Men det bare interne, nesten.
Det kan være
Morsomme eksempler.
Happy you like it.
Litt annerledes enn TOGAF-sertifiseringen, men likevel noe felles.
Yeah, we have all experienced some of that.
There's something wrong with this. Where's the architect? Oh.
We have not put an architect in there. So.
No, because I'm looking for an architect.
Okay. Okay, you develop your own story for the difficult architect and put this on. This is perfect.
Enterprise architect.
The difficult architect.
He's an enthusiast and he's very good and very excited.
You also left out the security guy.
Yeah.
That's next door.
Yeah, I know.
So once you're through with the
Ja, ikke sant? Vi begynner å nærme oss 25. juni, og alle skal på ferie og tenke mer på valutakursene og uventede endringer der på grunn av renteøkninger og private ting.
So once you're through with reading, put the roles on post-its, and then you start the group discussion. Okay.
Because it says things all requirements, it's inadequate.
So you put the titles on the. Yep, exactly. And then because this is a group exercise and you might not agree with each other, you say no, this person is this and this person is that.
Always agree.
Nei, ikke sant?
Excellent.
high interest, low influence. Project sponsor, high influence og low resistance. Beina positivt. High impact.
They start, yeah, they start the group work. It's a bit tough because it's easier to sit down and yeah.
Casework is really good. They get bored and listening so much better.
Yeah, we're good in time.
Vill du ha med kulturerna, yrkesavdelningen och...
We could by that stage.
Flera andra intressenter som har nämnt.
Martin har snart passert alle sammen.
Ja, vi måtte utkast. Det er det man måtte begynne med. Vi som konsulenter skal levere alt en første utkast som skal kunne. Det er jo, ja, ikke sant, det er den der Kahnemans, den
Yeah. No, we practiced this now quite a number of times. That was worth it, right?
More time for them.
Yeah. Because it takes a while to get into this thing. So we probably have to try and get one of these things here. Let me see if it's in the camera. Yeah. No. Bring it here. Because then it's it's a bit better in view. It's where you Ann, can we stop this maybe, because there's nothing now on the video, and then start it when we have the presentation.
Stop the video or stop the presentation?
Or we take this one and show the teams how they work. Because right now it's just group work, and it's kind of, you see nothing. Yeah. It's only we can't. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, no, it's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect.
Top right, top left. They don't have the same power and influence. Why is that?
Here in this example, or here?
No.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
This,
Top right, top left.
Yeah. This was just an example, right? I mean,
So-
imaginary people.
Well-
we have no.
But in principle, if you're high, doesn't matter where you
Yeah,
will
yeah,
have
exactly.
high.
It can be that you are opponent and but have nothing to. You're just somebody like an office worker that criticizes everything, but he's not part of the project, right? But this doesn't matter.
Okay, yeah.
So when you agree on where the mapping is and have you agreed on the stakeholder map?
Sikkerhetsavdelingen gjør noe av oss. Hvem var det som skrev de gule lappene her?
Det var du som skrev de gule lappene, men nå finner jeg ikke developeren.
Det var fordi jeg
Developeren. Han har fått muligheten med flere steder.
Han, den, henne.
Nei, mange streker, ja.
Ski.
Hun, stakkars. Hun vil jo sabotere. Hun bare stopper hun kan jo si, ja, ikke sant, så hun er både, men hun er samtidig, hun kan være positiv, men
You have already one here, but
ja,
but if
men
you
det
don't
er mulig
agree,
at, det er mulig at hun skal også,
yeah,
ja, henne der.
Snakker vi norsk, eller?
ja, absolutt.
Skal vi sette streker på det? Hvor mange
Ja, hvor mektig er de? Ikke sant? Så 3 streker, og de er veldig mektige. 1 strek, ikke så mye. 2. Bruk de pennene, for vi vil ha sånn litt presentasjon etterpå, så veldig kort. Ok. When do we have to finish? When was it? 40? 40. Okay, so I think at 30 we ask the 2 teams to, to present one after the other, explaining why they placed them there, and then show their action plan, applause, and then the other, and then thank you very much. This is it. I hope you learned.
Up to you.
Yeah, and then we have just 1 slide. So at half, if you give us a sign, then
I think we have enough time. 20 minutes now, right?
yeah,
20 minutes. So
yeah.
they are almost ready. They can
Yeah.
start presenting.
If we're earlier, that's fine. Then we asked for examples what they have experienced on projects and what they've done and if they find it useful or not. Right?
You want me to tell you when it's 30?
Yeah. Thank you.
We have 40, so we have
Yeah, we have 10 minutes left over.
If they are done, you can already start. And we have someone.
They're really doing this here. They're really reading it again. Doing it, wanted to do it the exact way, which is really cool to experience. And yeah, we asked them a little bit about was it difficult and stuff like that. What is? Yeah. It works fine. Really, I'm happy.
You can interact with them while they present and
Yeah.
say what is the is it what is your
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah. Shripad. Selfie. Come closer. Come closer. We need the stakeholder. Okay. Wait a second. This way. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, sure. You want to be? Okay, you take me. I'm coming. Okay. Sorry, did you?
IT manager because he wants to go on a holiday.
IT manager, ja, for det er han som ja.
Try to agree on who, from your point of view, from the group feeling or for the impression you have on this case, who's the most important, right? You will not be able to change the behavior of everybody, but
Project sponsor and developer. Hvis vi sier at developer egentlig er et team som truer med å slutte.
yeah, you decide, right? There is no right, there is no wrong. These are all difficult people and difficult situations. But you have to kind of agree on one, because it's easier then to develop an action plan. We can say, well, if we influence this person, then he can influence that person, or whatever it is.
Ja, men da er det egentlig å nedskalpe altså project.
Okay.
And that means it's not a goal.
That's, yeah, well, yeah.
But I would argue against because I think like it's in the test phase you really get to know if the product fulfills the
Or not.
like it's in the test phase you really see if you have the quality that you have been striving for.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Everything is going to plan, according to plan, I guess. It's the typo, Jan.
Excuse me? Typo? That everything is going according to plan. Yeah, sorry, according to plan. So,
So
you know.
this is very interesting person who is optimist and
Definitely
Project sponsor software eller kjøpe team Ja, vi må ha flere ressurser. Og det er derfor fremgangsmåten må være
This is going quite well, really. I like it. It's going quite well, really. Everybody has a different viewpoint, and you know, like, but you have to come to an agreement in the group what to focus on. And this is part of the challenge. And you know, I heard one person saying, the tester is really important. You know, no, the sponsor is more. And this is there is no right, there is no wrong. I mean, perfectly right. I don't know. But it's just interesting to see the result.
How would you make the enthusiast
This is just an example.
Oh, okay.
This is just an example. This is how you would, you have stakeholder 1, 2, 3. This is just explaining then what kind of person is this, kind of, as an example. You know, the impact of change, medium, and followers. You know, these guys are okay, but maybe and other might say, well, there's a potential here. This person is already following and he's going to change. Maybe we get him more excited about the change because then he can influence others. Or maybe.
But why is the stakeholder to the right, top right, have less power and influence than the one on the left?
This is no specific. I can find a person for it. Let me think. Somebody who's really excited about a project, but he's not the CFO, sponsor, project manager, or CEO. Okay. He's more kind of head of department. He knows his department will change because there's a new implementation, new software. Okay. He has to make sure people are trained, but he likes it, right? You know, because he's looking for this I was on one project where I was confronted with lots of negative people, opponents, you know, and then I had to do a training. And I thought those people would be there. So I prepared really well. I had everything ready. And before I started my presentation and training and so on, they said to me, Mr. Liedtke, want to talk to you, want to say you one thing. And I thought, oh, now it comes. They hate the system. They don't want to, and everything. And said, we love SAP. We're so happy that you are here. You know, like, okay, it's gonna be fun. You know, you never know what kind of people you have, but you have to kind of react to the situation you're in. You know, and I expect always the worst. You know, and if it's better, I'm always happy then during the session. But this is really true. We had on one project, I was a different one. We had opponents, a huge group of opponents. But what happened was they had very little low power of influence. Right, if they were not happy, nobody cared. So what we did is we ignored them because they didn't matter at all. And after a while, they have been made redundant because they were criticized by the manager. Say, you didn't support the project. We're always against, right? You didn't bring any of your people to the project in order to work with them. You know, they were made redundant. That was really a sad case. But that's really rarely. So now we need to ask them to.
He is the one who's pulling the strings, so he will then follow. We will make. And so we start here, and then she will get a better life.
Make sure to identify your most important stakeholders, like you just did, right? And then put your ideas on the action plan, Victor, because you just said it. I want to do this and this and this and this, and then this, you know, and then it's going to be fine. Put it on. We will have a bit of. Yeah. Put it on the action plan. You have action plan. Great. Perfect. Yeah. 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 Replace IT managers because of holiday. Yeah. It's interesting. It's really interesting.
And that project manager
from
must
cyber
have
is most
reality
important.
check. No, project manager, but project sponsor
Project
must
sponsor.
has han må ha en sånn
Yeah.
altså sånn
Yeah. So
realism check.
somebody has to talk to that person and say, you know, look at it. You don't see. Yeah.
Or you can scope down the
Yeah.
project.
Kjempebra. Vi er nesten ferdig.
Manager needs a reality check.
Yeah. Put it on.
Test manager needs reality check.
Put it on. That's perfect. Okay. Just for timing, make sure you finish your action plan. We want one of here, this group, or one or two of this team to present their mapping analysis and then present the action plan. Okay? And explain why they think this way.
It's quick.
Yeah, it's quick. 2 minutes.
Not more than 2 minutes. And there is no right or wrong.
It's your view.
It's what you think.
He looks skeptical. You're not an opponent. Nice. Guys, are you ready with the action plan?
It's short.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Are you done? Who's going to present?
Er det ikke her?
Okay. We have the first with the first group. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. Maybe we can.
No, it's coming. It's coming.
Where's, okay. Maybe we can put it on here, if possible. Yep. Okay. Perfect. You want to present all?
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Go ahead.
Okay, our team, my marvelous team here, has cracked the matrix here, and we have identified that, according to the case study, that the project sponsor is very important. Although he is in the middle, but he has high impact on the case according to what is written. It's either high, plug it out, or what was it?
Yeah, it was a bit black and
Yeah, it was black and white. Yeah, it was really,
Mm-hmm.
it was very black and white.
either everything on time or nothing not on time.
Correct.
Yeah. It's 0 or 1.
And then we have the business functional guy, who we identified as also has a high impact in the case, and important because if he was a real agent to business functionality, he has the authorities, and that has to be covered. But he is directed by project sponsor. He has not much to say, but he has to follow the lead. Okay.
I put this on, then we have you on tape.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You can just hold this.
I can hold the oath now. All right. And then we have the IT manager. We discussed it back and forth, and we believe the IT manager is very enthusiastic in a sense. It's a high impact for the kids because if this project is not delivered on time, it will impact his division or his people. Yeah.
Both people and portfolio.
And portfolio, everything actually, yeah, everything actually. But again, he doesn't have any impact at all, so he has to follow the lead. So it's like first, second, and nothing to say. Developer, we have taken the developer as medium, and very enthusiastic because she works 60 hours a week. But again, we also believe she could come here. In a sense, she also threatened to leave the company. So it can be argumented both ways. Okay, she can be also opponent, but we believe that she's a nice person, so we put her here. Hardworking and high impact. On a low point of view, we have the poor project manager. Poor girl. She has nothing to say. Nobody's listening to her, and she doesn't mean anything actually. But she's very enthusiastic though. But she doesn't come far. Test manager is in between. Has also nothing to say actually. We concluded that, but had an importance for the project overall.
Great. So who's your most important stakeholder? You want
It's number one, project sponsor. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you have an action plan?
Yeah. Very simple, short and simple. Yeah, very two things actually. We have a face-to-face meeting with the project sponsor, included with the business functional and IT manager. So they all agree upon the impact this project might have for the organization. So we have to get the project sponsor on board. And since the business functional had a role as being indecisive, he was really, I want the old system. So we also suggest have a demo with the business functional to actually show and see this works with the tester. So they will see the progress with the project sponsor. That's about it.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So team number 2. Who's going to present? You already up. I put this.
Okay, let's place this here.
Okay, thank you. I can fix it for you.
Nei, vi må fikse det.
Yeah. I can fix it for you. So here we put this on. Cool. And I put this here on your.
Ja.
I think on your. I think here this can work. and then you just hold this. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
there is one who's missing, and it's the project. It's the project. It's the sponsor. And
No, you have
yeah,
it.
yeah,
You have
well,
it,
it's
yeah.
project. Well, yes, here he is. Yes, okay. We think that the developer has got high influence based on the fact that she can leave, and therefore we must in some way or another be able to keep her. Basically, we also think that the business functional. We're not sure if he is. Oh, I think he must be. He's definitely an opponent, but the question is how much influence he's got on the actual project. What role? I think he's definitely got a lower influence than him, and he's a strong opponent. He's a potential saboteur in this whole project. If he can, he would try to persuade this guy to just cancel the whole thing, but that's probably not an option, because the project sponsor says, without being able to listen to anyone else, he says that this must go on, anything. And we consider him to be the most important actor, and then probably the developer as number 2, because if she withdraws, we can probably expect, without taking into consideration too many things, that the project will just basically stop. The whole progress will stop without the developer continuing to work. We are interested in some way of involving the project manager, who's got some good ideas, but that's a part of the task list. So this one is number 1, and then this one is number 2, and we basically wanted to pull the IT manager out of the equation. We wanted, yeah, so to speak. Well. Yeah.
You want to sack him?
No, sorry, the business functional. Sorry, the business functional guy. It's not IT manager, but the business functional guy. The first in our task list. Well, we must fire the business functional, because he doesn't have any specific role in the project. He's just somebody who's causing problem and must be replaced by somebody else. But that
he's responsible for the requirements, but you don't need requirements in the project.
as far as the project now.
Most projects don't have any requirements. Yeah, they change all the time, not specific.
Yeah. And then, of course, the project sponsor, who seems like an old-fashioned dictator. You see what I mean? I once wrote a so-called bedriftshistorie of a ship owner who was a classical dictator guy who was 84 years old and walking around in the corridors and scaring the shit out of everybody. And he knew best, and the only reason that he didn't write the book was that he didn't have time. Yeah. So the project sponsor
30 seconds.
the project sponsor has to get some kind of reality check, which either means that he must scope down the project or hire more developers. And he must also be able to delegate the work down to the project leader, who's got lots of good ideas, give her more real influence and do her job.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's great.
Okay.
So I hope you found this useful, and we have seen that there are completely different viewpoints in this, and the gist is this is very subjective. And Shripad wrote, it's better to be roughly right than precisely wrong. The situation is this is subjective, and it's your viewpoint, but that you take action, that you do the mapping, that you do this analysis and come to an action plan and then act on it is already going to show some form of success. In your limits, of course, because you cannot sack IT managers probably so easily from the client, right? But it might be a long-term prospect. It depends really how much power the project team has. So, well, we're on the time limit. We are 1 minute over. Thank you very much. and I hope you can apply this tool.
Thank you.
Thank you.